Fun. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Some of us are literally running in off of the modified football field. So for those of you in the car, or if you don't, if you know of anyone who isn't going to make it this evening, it is being recorded and you will be able to look at this at another time, or if you're going to be feeding kids and whatnot. Thank you so much. Welcome to the first middle school council meeting. I really appreciate everyone being here. And I'm going to very quickly have Rachel Kelly is going to give us an update. And then if you have, I know you have other things this evening. So if you would like to stay with us afterwards, wonderful. If not, you're welcome to go enjoy the rest of your evening at home. So thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Kelly.
Thank you. My pleasure. Good evening, everyone. It's good to see so many familiar faces and names. I just wanted to officially welcome all of you back. I'm very excited to see even more of you tomorrow evening at your Meet the Faculty night. I did want to just encourage everybody. We've been sending out lots of communication, but I just want to reinforce the idea of you giving us feedback as it relates to some suggestions we've made to refine our Bronxville Promise language. We are wrapping up that feedback window. It will close on Sunday, and we're eager to hear if you have any comments or suggestions before I put a finalized version in front of the board at the next public meeting, October 19th. So if you're bored and you want to take a few minutes and look over that, it would mean a lot to us, because as you know, the Bronxville Promise means a lot to us. We have a board workshop coming up on Monday, October 2nd. Really, the purpose of that is to think a little longer term. Historically, we have had these 2 workshops in October. This time of year, our second one will be the last Monday in October. And we're looking to frame it this year really as the first one being a primer, if you will, about the budget and all the requirements that we have as a public school in our budget. Dan Carlin will take center stage at this workshop, and he'll also be talking a little bit about our next bond, which won't be for another year or 2, but we do have a 5-year facility plan, and we're going to be working this year to prioritize the needs of our building. So that will be the first Monday in October, and then the last Monday in October, the purpose of the workshop is to hear from the other members of the leadership team and really talk about program and what makes us distinctive and what we feel is important that we keep in place and even improve upon. So we look forward to seeing you at these workshops. Workshops are not televised. It's more of a conversation among the board and the leadership team, and yet the public is welcome. So I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow night. And I am going to beg out. I have a house full here, but Brad, don't take offense. I will hang on your every word when I watch the recording. And if nobody has any questions, you certainly don't have to ask them tonight. I'm always available via email at my extension 1200, or pop in.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kelly. If anyone does have questions, obviously we can get them to you in the future as well, or they can email them to you. Super. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And
thanks so much for
taking the time for us. Thank you. I am now going to very quickly go through and introduce the Executive Council. And there's a lot of people on the Middle School Exec Council, and I'm so grateful to all of them for volunteering to support the PTA and all of the work that the council does and to support the students and teachers. So thank you very much. If you are on the Zoom, please just give a wave. There's a lot of people, so many might not see, but just try and wave. And then there's one or two updates from councils that I will ask as I introduce them to just give a very brief update. And that way you can be introduced to everyone, and then we can move on to Mr. Mercora and to Brad Ashley for really the main events this evening. So I am obviously the council chair. The vice chair of the middle school is Lansing Martinelli. The treasurer is Lindy Devereaux. The secretary is Joyce Barnes. The 8th grade chairs are Jenny Jacobs, Laura Busker, and Emily Liggett. The 7th grade chairs are Catherine Kempton, Catherine Williams, and Corinne O'Mara. The 6th grade chairs are Tara Holbert, Amy Savali, and Megan Paisley. Megan Paisley is also the middle school athletic council rep. The arts council rep for the middle school is Michelle Horvers. The Be Well council rep is Annabella Davis and Tara Brenner. The Bold council rep is Michelle Spillane. The character and community reps our chairs are Amy Brown, Megan Allen, and Sarah Waterstone. The DEI council rep for the middle school is Catherine Kempton and Teresa Brady. We also have for the health and safety, Caroline Dimitri. Sustainability rep, which is a new committee this year, is, it was started last year, is Amy Kraus. Our staff appreciation is Tara Holbert. I'm going to come right back to you, Tara. And then our teen center reps are Melissa Kelly, Gina Lodi, Rosie Modio, Jen Heathwood, and I'm going to give a plug. We are looking for volunteers to help with that with the teen center. So please reach out to myself or any of those 4 members if you are interested. And our Basque rep is Lindsay Livornia. I know that we have a little bit of an update from Tara Holbert for staff appreciation. So do you want to take it away, Tara, for a moment? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. I just wanted to give a plug. We have a staff appreciation lunch on October 25th. About a week or so before, there'll be an email that goes out asking if you can sponsor a teacher or staff member for lunch. And so if you could just be on the lookout for that. We feed about 250 to 300 people during that time. So if you could look out for that and help out, we'd really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And that's a wonderful way to support our teachers and faculty and staff. So thank you very much for spearheading.
I could also just say thank you so much for the social. It was sold out. Deirdre hosted it, and we are so grateful for everyone's support. It sold out in a matter of hours and raised a lot of really good money, and we're really grateful for that as well. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Deirdre and Mike, for that. And it was a really fun evening, so thank you. And thank you, Tara, for making all of those events happen for the school. Thanks. And I'm not sure if either Annabella or Tara Brennan are on to give a very brief plug for the Be Well event that is coming up next Wednesday night. Are either of you guys here for that?
Yeah, Wendy, hi, it's Tara. Hi, everyone. Hi. Stephen Hill, the founder of Speak Sobriety, will be here next Wednesday, October 4th at 7 o'clock. It'll be in person and it'll be virtual as well. If you have any questions, Wendy actually sent out a link. 2 things. You can RSVP, but you can also ask any questions that you may have for him. It sounds like, I didn't get to see it last year. It sounds like it was an incredible experience and so helpful for parents of teens and also even including middle schoolers, right? Kind of helping everyone get prepared. His dad will be there as well, which is also very helpful, having a parent perspective. And then next month, Jennifer B. Wallace will be coming, and we'll talk about that later. I know Wendy's much more familiar with her, but she has done so much with kind of all the emotional struggles that high achieving kids have, and has ideas for how we can help.
That's great. Thank you so much. And yes, please RSVP or ask questions, and know that that is a really important topic. And it's great that it's going to be next week before homecoming, when I know there's a lot of shenanigans in the high school. So hopefully, hopefully it doesn't trickle down to middle school. So, and I believe, is there any other council rep that has an update that they would like to give right now? Okay, wonderful. If people have questions or they'd like information, the contact information for all of the council reps is on the PTA website. So please go there if you need to find somebody's email address, or just reach out to me and I can connect you. And again, we are always looking for volunteers for different events throughout the school. And so we will send you information. If you are not receiving PTA texts or emails, also please let us know. We would like to make sure that you receive those. And I would like to say, as I'm introducing Mr. Mercora, I would very much like to say that you do a wonderful job of sending out a lot of information on Friday afternoons. So thank you so much. Sometimes, you know, I read the body of it and I don't scroll down until a couple days later, and then I get to it and I realize that all of the pertinent information that I need is there. So thank you for taking the time, and you often put in the PTA information for us as well. So thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Wendy, for your leadership of our middle school council. I just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome everyone back to this wonderful school year. We're off to a great start, and I'm planning on giving a little report about how we got started and where we're going to be going as we move forward. But it's my real pleasure to continue to do something that we started last year at this middle school council, and it's to really work on ways that we can ways to keep your children safe, and tips for parents and tips for children. And as you know, we are very fortunate in wonderful Bronxville here to have a wonderful director of technology who does so much with our kids and with our staff, and is a big part of all that communication and always trying to improve it as we try to get information out to families. So Brad Ashley is back with us for our first council meeting, and I'm going to turn it over to Brad, who also has two amazing little children at home, and I'm going to give him an opportunity now to share some incredible information with us, and then I'll take it there. So Brad, welcome, and thank you for being here with us this evening.
No, of course, it's my pleasure. This was a tradition that started last year, and I think we did an abbreviated version the year before. But really, it's important to kind of find out what's going on with technology, and in the middle school, especially as students are kind of becoming more independent, 4th and 5th grade as well, and then working on the high school. So I love the time to be able to chat in front of groups of parents to just kind of get some feedback, and then just kind of let you know what's going on, because how hard it is to get all of that out of a middle schooler. It's hard to get the day out of a kindergartner, which my kid is. So I can only imagine how tough it is to get a middle schooler to talk about some of these things. So the big focus this year for us is on cybersecurity. And if you're reading the papers and realizing there's phishing attacks are up, ransomware attacks are hitting almost every other district. And so we're really trying to protect ourselves and make sure that we use this as an opportunity to kind of inform staff about their work responsibilities through cyber training, but also how it trickles into their personal lives and their personal emails. And then also use that to help educate staff, to help educate students, right? Kind of that trickle down effect of the more knowledge that you have, the more personal it becomes, and then you can pass it on. So what our cybersecurity is based off of, and what most cybersecurity base is, three-pronged: the technology that protects us, the process in which we give people access, the policies that are behind that, and then the people that are there. And any cybersecurity program will tell you that their biggest weakness is always the people. We do cyber trainings, but just one phishing email that kind of gets through the system, somebody clicks on it, and then boom, it's a ransomware, or you're compromised by giving out information that you don't want to. So with the rise of phishing, ransomware, we really want to focus on password protection. And so this is something that we're doing for the middle schooler. We're about to, next month, October, is traditionally Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I'm sure everybody had that marked on their calendars along with pumpkin spice. But the focus for us is just kind of bringing awareness to and really focusing on what's out there, how they can protect themselves. And as a former teacher, I really want to focus on how things work, how a website works, how apps work, how they continue to get you to, come back based on likes, how a website can mock another website just by grabbing HTML and changing a few things. So what we really do is focus on that. And this year, we're really encouraging students to have passphrases. So passphrase is a more complex password. So instead of thinking of a word in which you change, an E to a backwards or to an E to a 3 or something like that, so it looks like a backwards E. Having a complex phrase that can be longer. Longer is always more secure. And then all of our passwords are going to be complex. And so that means a capital, a lowercase, a number, and a special character. So if anybody can try and encourage students to think about these things before they're kind of sprung on them. Of course, we're going to, for middle school, we do this in school, in classes, so that they have the support of the teacher there. If you have a high schooler, they kind of do it on their own through a program called ClassLink. And the reason why we have 10 characters, and we actually, the report, I use a report from a company called Hive Systems, and they send out this table, which is on the next slide. And I want to talk through it before I show you the slide because it's a little jarring. And it tells you how long a password and how complex a password is to be broken. And so here on the left-hand side, it has ChatGPT software to brute force your password in 2023. And this kind of changed everything. And so I put in yellow where we are. Right now, we have a policy of 10 characters for middle and high school, and then 13 characters for staff. And I'm thinking that we probably need to increase that, considering the fact that with the use of ChatGPT, this 10 character with all of the complexities that we have is 1 hour. On the right-hand side, if you see the 10 and the complexity is 2 weeks. And so we're just trying to catch up. And basically, we're trying to protect students. We're encouraging them to change password at school. And then also if they have personal email accounts as well, and really focus on that passphrase. Maybe this isn't also eye-opening to people to be able to say, oh, maybe I should change my password. Really, last year's tables that look like this that I pass around to staff, the yellow down here that was 232,000 years was up in the 13, and that's how we kind of came across that number. So you can kind of see with the increase of AI and ChatGPT and some of these tools, it's getting a lot easier to be able to break passwords, and we'll have to kind of rethink this. As I was preparing for this, I was like, oh, maybe 10 isn't good enough anymore. So we'll be working on that, but definitely sending out some information on that, and then middle school students will be doing that in classrooms. All right. And then also a big focus is digital citizenship, and just making sure that students are aware of their actions online, not to be impulsive, not to do things quickly, but try and take that breath to really think about that there's a person behind that keyboard that they might be texting to, and that also that keyboard isn't always a protector of what they want to do. So we always have a big digital citizenship push. Joe does this in the advisories, or rather the advisories do this with Joe's leadership. And then we also have, we'll also be having 2 speakers this year, in which we're going to do moving forward. We're going to have a more law enforcement based speaker come in. And I think we put information out there, or Joe will kind of fill us in on that. And then we'll have a softer approach to it about management, and that's Janelle Burley Hoffman, and she'll be coming back in January. Joe, perfect. All right. So what is digital citizenship? It's really all about these 5 things: empathy, how the internet works. Again, I mentioned that I was a teacher before I took this position, so I really think it's important to understand that everything that you put out there is created by somebody. And so you can't always trust what it is, and you can always really be able to modify as needed. Real easy to be able to create fake news, really. Understanding user data and how it's manipulating us, especially with the rise of TikTok and some of these apps that really kind of get the dopamine going in the brain to bring them back to it, and how we can kind of take a break. And there's a book at the end of the presentation that you might want to look into. And then practicing digital literacy, so understanding fake news, where information is coming from, and making your own decisions. And then practicing digital wellness. And digital wellness is a newer thing about taking a break from technology, taking a phone break, and really being able to connect with people in different ways rather than have your phone in your hand. So the empathy is really thinking about the person on the other side of the screen. I'm going to go kind of quick through some of these. Again, these are really focused on in the advisory lessons that are kind of put out there of really being responsible online. How the internet works. If we had longer, I would be able to go in and grab the source code from any page and be able to copy, paste into a text edit document, change a few words, and it looks like a web page. And so if it's that easy to create, it's that easy to manipulate. And so that's the point that I try to push across to people, is that don't always trust what's online. Just because it's online doesn't mean it's valid. You really have to think through and don't overreact. Understanding user data. Oftentimes that when kids can sign up for these free accounts, or when adults can too, I won't leave us out of this. We are the product, and so oftentimes there is targeted ads. I'm sure everybody has kind of, if you're on any sort of social media and you do one little search for, all of my stuff is like Bluey characters for Halloween outfits. Now all my feed is just Bluey. So you can see how those targeted ads work, and it's a little bit of a joke, but it's also very much they're selling that data. And so understanding what you are to these companies, and they're not actually always concerned about your welfare. They're more concerned about keeping you on and engaged so that those ads go through, versus having you be happy about things and then maybe put down the phone and go out and enjoy life. And so really thinking about the purpose and what your data is to a lot of these companies. Reading multiple, or practicing digital literacy, as I mentioned on the beginning slide of this, reading multiple sources and really think before buying in. I encourage this for staff and cyber training of, whenever you get an email, stop, pause, take a breath, and really think about what it is. A common phishing campaign is trying to have a high-ranking person in the organization. Oftentimes it's Dr. Kelly, that somebody is spoofing them, and then they'll write an email that this needs to happen right now, and you need to email me back with this information, and being able to pause. And it's kind of the same with any sort of information online, being able to pause and say, is this really true? Does this make sense to me? Maybe I should check another source. Us as adults, we kind of have that experience because we don't, and probably haven't all of our lives, gotten information online. But we're getting to the point where a lot of our students, they get more of their information online than they've even read magazines in their life or a newspaper. So it's really encouraging kids to kind of pause and think and find other sources and kind of validate some of these things. And then practicing digital wellness, really encouraging kids to take stock and step away from technology. And there are ways to do this that don't involve, completely giving up the phone. Encourage kids to use the airplane mode. So if they want to take pictures, taking pictures is fine. Being connected and posting those pictures right away for likes, that's completely different. So kind of think about healthy ways that you can do this. It could be getting rid of the phone altogether, or it could be using some built-in Apple or Android tools to kind of turn off the internet and just have it as a phone that maybe takes pictures, as a really nice camera. So there's other ways that you can do this, that it's not maybe quitting cold turkey, as some students might have issues with that. So a great tool to use is digital well-being from Google. And I don't know if you can see up here, but it says wellbeing.google. And it kind of asks you to put in some information about your cell phone usage and kind of give some tips on how to kind of break that cycle and not rely on technology as much. Some other tips that I constantly use. I put this in our acceptable use policy, and I mention it whenever I can, is that you really are the greatest filter, and you being the parents. Being present, being around students when they're using technology, I can guarantee no teacher is telling kids to have their Chromebook in their bedroom late at night. Like, Chromebook should stay in the family room and be charged so it's ready to go the next day. So being around students as much as you can, being engaged, that's really the greatest filter, because even with the protections that we have on all of our devices, students left unattended sometimes will find a way. So really make sure that your presence is there. Again, charge devices in a central location. One bit of information that I always pass on that Janelle Burley Hoffman mentioned, 7 years ago now, was to just buy a digital camera on Amazon, or a digital clock on Amazon, because so many people fall for the trap of like, oh, I'm just gonna use my phone as an alarm, but then the phone is right there, and when you can't sleep, roll over, you turn it on, and that creates all sorts of problems. So just doing that little thing, buying a $8 digital alarm clock that's going to be your alarm for the morning, and charging the devices out in the central location where they're charged for the next morning, but then also not in rooms. And that's a great idea for parents as well. Try to establish rules for emails work for the entire household. There are other countries that kind of do this, as a culture thing, where emails are rarely sent after 7 p.m. and they kind of really really value family time. And so try and do that in your own household as well. Really pump the idea that, there's a work time and there's a family time, and kind of helps the create, because work is always important and homework is important, but if you can carve out times to do that, otherwise work tends to fill the empty space, right? And then that kind of bleeds into carve out low tech, no tech times to reconnect with each other. Common Sense Media, the last bullet point there, used to really focus on like family board game nights, and some other fun things that we can be doing. And so, pop popcorn, watch a movie together, whatever is without tech in the hands can be awfully helpful. This is just a screenshot of the parenting page on Common Sense Media. I really like this website. I would encourage that you sign up. They give great information, and they have reviews on apps. They have reviews on video games. They have reviews on music. They have reviews on movies. And there is a editing group of it, but it also is user sourced as well. So there's some crowdsourcing there. So there's good information. Just like we said, check multiple sources, right? We don't want to always believe Common Sense Media, but there's a lot of good information is there. And then let me just skip to some books and then talk about one other important thing. So Janelle Burley Hoffman is on the far left-hand side there. She'll be coming back to talk in January. I encourage people to read this if you haven't. It's a really great approach to it that's not punishment, that's not taking away, it's setting boundaries, which is really helpful. How to break up with your phone is kind of a nice way. Some people encourage, and I believe it's mentioned in this, I read a lot of these books, so I don't remember exactly where everything is, but how to break up with your phone. One of the things is to really evaluate why you use your phone and delete apps that are distracting. And some people end up with like 3 apps on their phone, and then they just don't use it as much, only for emergencies. And so there's some good tips in that. And that's a really short read that you can do with your kids. It's, I believe, less than 100 pages and a real small book. A book that I love to mention is a book called Program or Be Programmed. It's 10 Commandments for the Digital Age by Douglas Rushkoff. And he's actually a professor down at NYU. And I think the title kind of says it all, that you're either going to be able to program and read a little bit of language and understand what the algorithms and what companies are doing with your data, or you're going to be programmed and you're going to kind of be used in that system. And so take a little bit to kind of understand, some of the things that I mentioned earlier about user data, but then just really understanding how you're viewed by these companies. So it's important. And then a more recent book that I've been reading is the New Childhood and Raising Kids to Thrive in a Connected World. I think that we all can, better or worse, agree that the connected world isn't going away. And so how do we raise students in this world, and how can we be thoughtful of the technological changes that are happening that we're not comfortable with, but yet they're still connecting with each other, even though they might be on Minecraft and on screens on different households. And how do we feel about that, and how can we find a nice balance of allowing them to maybe do that, but then also meet in person to, you know, to kind of seek out some of these things. So really finding a balance and not shunning it because it's going to be something that's going to be that our world's going to, but really helping students to kind of live healthily in that. And then this last slide is something that right here, just added some resources in. I got a few emails from different faculty about their kids. I get them too. And just some people were asking, you know, what can I do for my fourth grader, fifth grader, middle school? And so I had these and I thought I'd just share them with everybody. So again, presence is the best filter, being around. There's a product called Eero, which is built by Amazon, and it's a router that has extenders, and it's got a really nice app and interface. Again, I'm not a salesman by any means, but what Eero and the next one, the Google Mesh system, allows you to do is to every device that is on your system, you can pause it, you can project it, you can turn off certain URLs or websites that you don't want access. And so you know, the world is kind of catching up with this, especially the technological world. So Eero is one, Google Mesh, that Google also has the Nest system. And so these are Wi-Fi 6 enabled routers that allow you to get internet and spread it throughout your house, but then also some really nice protections. The Eero is the one that I have the most experience with because I bought it, you know, on an Amazon Prime Day deal, which one is coming up again. Not a salesman, but just putting it out there. And it tells me exactly what device is attaching to my system, and I know how to monitor it and everything. So just some ideas out there. And then cable routers that you might get from your cable company, Verizon or whoever you might be, they oftentimes have more elevated admin features. You know, 15, 20 years ago when these were brand new, it was a very different interface, but now they're kind of, you know, giving some family options to be able to pause, to be able to do some things, and a lot of them have an app. So I would definitely look into that if that's something you're into. And then there's resources that are built into Mac OS systems. There's parental controls, and then built into the Windows 10 and 11, those are the most updated, of ways to be able to turn off, to, you know, highlight certain things, to give screen time, you know, kind of feedback and data. So I would also encourage kind of looking through those and finding what fits for you. You know, how much you want to give students, how much you want to give it off. A lot of them have, you know, turn off times that it doesn't allow certain apps after a certain time. So really kind of engage. What I'm hoping to do is look through and create more of a one pager with these resources, but then kind of expand on some of them, find out what cable companies are in Broxville that might be offering. And so I can kind of get some PDF one pagers so that you don't have to see, I'll seek it out for you. And then hopefully the one pager will be helpful. And then that was a lot of talking. So do we have any questions?
Brad, thanks so much for your time. And certainly if there's any questions as well, they could always email either one of us and we would certainly follow right back up with them.
Absolutely.
All right. So that being said, I want to thank Brad very much. And I know you got those beautiful children to get back to. So thank you, Brad. I really appreciate your time, pal.
Thanks again for having me. Appreciate it. And reach out if you have
Thank
any
you
questions.
so much.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to speak to you a little bit myself right now and welcome you all back to school. It's always a pleasure to have this first meeting with everyone. It's a pleasure really with every meeting, but this is kind of like the one I always say is the boring meeting, because at future meetings, you're going to not just have Mr. McCora speaking to you, boring Mr. McCora, as I say, you're going to have some children who are the real stars of our school. And I'm looking forward to bringing them to future council meetings and letting you hear their voice about their experience in middle school. But for tonight, let me, on behalf of our entire middle school family, welcome you all back. It's September 27th. Hard to believe we're already at the end of the first month of school, but it's been a great month. And what we just want to say is, you know, what we do together as a school community, as a family, as this wonderful place called Bronxville is, we really do try to change the world for the better. And we do that one student at a time. And that's the beauty of our work. And that's the magic of our work as well. We are always emphasizing and working towards making sure that our students, we're fulfilling the Bronxville promise with our students, that we're teaching them to be those leaders, that we're working with them to engage the world in a positive way, that we're enhancing their critical thinking skills, and we're teaching them to be innovators, to bring new and positive things into this world. Dr. Kelly mentioned very wonderfully about how our, we're taking a look at at our Bronxville promise. And, we've had some input from that, and we really appreciate people that have filled out the survey already. As Rachel was speaking, I took the liberty of emailing that survey that she was speaking about to all of our families. So just in case somebody doesn't get the constant contact, I emailed it actually through Infinite Campus. So if you're seeing an email from Infinite Campus just that came in the last half hour, that's from me. And it's just kind of what Rachel was speaking. I know sometimes we do send a lot of communications out. And I thought, being at this particular evening, this one's on top of your email box right now if you wanted to take some time to fill it out. And thank you to so many that already have. We started this year off like we always do. It's a celebration of the students being back with us and looking at all the amazing things that are ahead of us this year. And our common goal when we meet with the 3 grade levels is to say to them every single year is try to make this the greatest year of your school experience, and keep it real simple, because our expectations for you are to always just try your best each and every day. Don't be afraid to struggle and fail at times. I had conversations with our 8th and 7th graders already, and I'm really looking forward to our 6th graders next week. Our 6th grade assembly is a little different. It's a celebration of their first month of middle school. Our 8th graders kind of talks about legacy and future, and the mark that they're going to leave on middle school, and the way that they're going to get themselves ready for that wonderful high school journey that's ahead of them. And in our 7th grade experience, when we speak to the students at the beginning of the year, we kind of talk about the difference between 6th grade and 7th grade, and how there's a difference in the work and sometimes in the expectations, but we kind of just put it all out there, and we let them know that there's going to be some days where it just all comes real easy. There's going to be some days where you struggle. But the most important thing that we say to them is that no matter what day it is, always know that they're never alone in anything that they're going through, that we're a community. We're here to help them. They have wonderful families at home, and they have a school family here that's here to back them up and do what we need to do to help them be successful. We speak about the importance of them advocating for themselves, asking for help when they need it. We talk about obvious things that you talk about in school, like following the rules, which our kids are pretty good at. I have to say, very proud of them in the way they follow the rules. We talk about the need for respect, respecting themselves and respecting everyone around them. And we talk about how we can create a culture in this building each and every day, that we can make someone's day every single day by creating that culture of kindness. And we talk about random acts of kindness and how they're so simple. Simple things like saying hello to someone as you see them walking past you. And I've seen this already early in our year, when you see someone sitting alone and asking them to join you, saying please and thank you when appropriate. We talk about how these are things that were taught at home when you were little children, and things that were emphasized in kindergarten, but they go your whole life and they're so important for you. Listening when someone is talking instead of waiting to speak, helping someone for no reason other than to help. And we kind of end each one, and there's a lot of other slides that we do with the kids, but we tell them each single grade gets the kind of like, just the wish for them to push yourself every day, just to be the best person that you can be, and always know that we care about you and believe in you. So that's the message. And I would be remiss not to give a real bravo and shout out to our 6th graders. Last year, in particular, to our students that attended Bronxville Elementary School, we tried to add a little nuance to their coming to middle school experience, their 6th grade experience, by reaching out to them in 5th grade. And I took some wonderful 8th graders that were the beginnings of what I'll eventually like to speak about with you all at a future council meeting, called our Ambassadors Program. And we went into those 5th grade classrooms in Bronxville Elementary School, and we spoke to them about middle school and what middle school was like. And to those of you that attended our parent orientation last year, they basically got what I would call the kid version of what you received. And we kind of coupled it at the end when we went back for the last time by giving them their locks before they so they could have them all summer and learn how to use them if they wish to. And if they didn't, that was fine. And if they lost them, that was fine too. We had plenty more waiting for them. But I have to say, in particular, to that group and the other children that just came in recently and joined us, they've done a wonderful job transitioning to middle school. They just come off what we consider to be their kind of class bonding experience, which we leave to the end of September. And they had a great trip to Sharp Reservation. And this is an opportunity for middle school students to kind of work within their advisory groups. And we find this to be an invaluable experience for them. It's class bonding and team building. And we embark on the advisory curriculum following the Bronxville Promise as our compass, like as we do in all things. There's not an assembly that goes by that we don't mention and reference the promise and what that means to us. And it's very important to us. It's kind of like, it's Rachel says all the time, Dr. Kelly, it's our North Star. So here's that wonderful group of sixth graders as they had this little class bonding experience. And, you know, in addition to our sixth graders that were new to middle school, we welcomed as a whole 24 brand new families to Bronxville Middle School this year. So, and I can't tell you the feedback that I've received from them just about the parents and the way that they've been welcomed by our community. And that was something I mentioned to them when they came in. We tried to have individual meetings with all of our new families over the summer. And I told them they were coming into a beautiful, welcoming community. And I've had so many of them reach back out just to say how true that was. And we're looking forward to continuing that relationship. So here they are. This is the future of our wonderful middle school. There's our sixth graders. They had a great time. There's actually a great story on our district website about them. And we look forward to them continuing that journey. So we have a grade level meeting coming up with that wonderful sixth grade. That's next week. We have back to school night tomorrow, September 28th at 7:00 p.m. We have homecoming week, which is really, I know it's predominantly a high school thing, but middle school families and elementary school families are welcome to all of this. It's the first week of October. There is a lot of information that you could expect coming out about that through our district website. And I'm even going to try to plug in as much of it as I can to our newsletter on Friday. We have a seventh grade trip coming up to Williamsburg, Virginia, November 14th through the 17th. And just mentioning those new families, the PTA here at Bronxville is so special about welcoming new families that they have an event for them. And it's on Wednesday, October 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Bronxville Field Club. Again, a lot more information to come on that. But it's really something unique to Bronxville that the PTA takes the time to welcome our new families. I know certainly as someone who has had the pleasure of welcoming 24 new families that I'll certainly be there that night. And I know our PTA will be out there in force as well as other administrators. So if you can, and you're hearing this and you're a new family, please come out that night. It's a very special event. I was new myself to Bronxville 3 years ago, so I know I have a real connection when I see somebody new coming in, and Bronxville really does a great job with that. So Brad actually teased a little bit about some of our safety things, safety prevention programs that we have for teachers, for families, and for kids. And last year, as you may remember, that all throughout Westchester County, there was some cases of students that were being taken advantage of over the internet. And there were cases of sextortion, as it's known, and there were cases of just fraudulent behavior being done towards children and towards adults. And Laura Forbes, who's an assistant district attorney, actually reached out to Dr. Kelly, our superintendent, to say, hey, you know, I actually am someone that actually gets very involved in this with schools and communities, and I maybe love an opportunity to speak to Bronxville if they were interested. And that's all she had to say, because since that time, which was last spring, we have been working very hard to get Laura Forbes to come to Bronxville, and I'm very happy to say that we have secured her. She's very sought after. And just so you know a little bit about Laura Forbes, and I'll be speaking a lot about this as we get closer to it, but she is the Deputy Bureau Chief in the District Attorney's Office. She is the Internet Safety Coordinator for Westchester County. She is in the Trials and Investigations Division, so she's actually involved in when people are accused of crimes such as these, and she knows the potential consequences for young people and older people when these things occur. She could speak to that. She's a member and leads up the Cyber Crimes Bureau. And we are very lucky that she's going to give a kid-friendly version of this on October 16th with an assembly with students, and that's at 9:30 a.m. And we're going to have our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in one giant assembly. We haven't done that for a number of years, but we're going to do it this year because we think it's important for every grade to hear this. And we're well aware of the grade levels, and it's going to be very appropriate for our 6th grader and an 8th grader to be in the same room and hear the same thing. But what we're really even just as excited about, and even a little more excited in some ways, is that she's agreed to come on October 19th via Zoom, just like this, and do a Zoom meeting with our entire parent community. So this is not something that we're going to limit to just our middle school families. I've already spoke to Miss Meyer at the high school and Miss Adams at the elementary school, and all our entire community will be invited. And we know it's busy time, but we're going to try to get everybody involved in this, and it should take no more than an hour. But it's really something I think could benefit our families, and I hope you can be a part of it. We've had a wonderful transition in our middle school. On this Zoom tonight is Kathleen Matthews, who happens to just be at a middle school council meeting with us. But we've had a wonderful transition and just a great team. To the left, to those of you that are in the high school world, you know that's Louisa Colarusso. She's the high school main office secretary. So she's someone you're going to know. So I had to include Louisa in our presentation because it's all about moving sixth grade into high school. You all know the person in the middle, that's Katie Krieg, who's been vital with a great transition. And we now are very fortunate and lucky to have Kathleen Matthews with us. She has done incredible work with the foundation, Bronxville Foundation, over the years. She's someone I got to know in my first 2 years. And when Katie was going to make that move over to special education, Kathleen was just such a perfect person to come in, and she's just been wonderful in her transition. And thanks to Katie for all she's done with that as well. So we have a great team, and Katie is right across the hall. So anytime any of us have a question, we just run across the hall, but Katie's back and forth. Some of you are coming in and seeing Katie sitting in the main office still. She actually, when Kathleen goes to lunch, Katie is back in here. So she didn't go that far, and we just welcome Kathleen and thank her for the great work she's doing. And I guess, I conclude just by saying, on behalf of all of us, the staff, myself, we want to thank you. I personally want to thank our staff for all they do. We all want to thank our parents for the incredible welcome back and just the incredible partnership that we have. I keep praising our PTA because, believe me, I've been involved. This is my 28th year in education, and I have been involved with a lot of PTAs, and Bronxville is second to none. What they do for our school and our community is incredible, and it's just a pleasure to be a part of that. The Bronxville School Foundation, I always say, is kind of like such an they are known, I know, but they're just such a hero to our school district and what they do. Tomorrow evening, just to give you a good example, you'll come in through Pondfield and you're going to see some incredible new bulletin board showcases that were a donation of the Bronxville Foundation based on a grant written by all of our art teachers. And what they do is incredible, but just, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to them. Thank you to Brad again for being here and for all he does with our kids in our school. And, one thing I always like to end a presentation on, the teachers hear this, and I always like our parents to hear this. There's a wonderful African proverb that talks about working together towards a common goal. It has many meanings behind it. It's used in corporate America. It's used in schools. But, we want our kids to go far in this world. We want them to be successful. We want them to be happy, but we want them to be ready as they graduate Bronxville High School one day and get ready for that college world and things out of there. So the only way we could definitely accomplish that is by doing it together. So there's a great proverb that says, if you want to go fast, well, then go alone. But if you want to go far, then go together, because there's nothing you can't accomplish as a team. And I believe that about our Bronxville Middle School, and I believe that about our community. And so let us go far together for the students of Bronxville Middle School. And I certainly wish everyone a wonderful year. And just so you know, my door is always open, and I want to give you the time that you deserve. So if there's any concerns with anything, please reach out. And we really are, we're really here to serve you and your children. And we're here to work together with you for their success. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. That's a lot of information, and we are really looking forward to being in the building tomorrow night for back to school night. And I know that some parents have been asking, so just to give them a little bit of information, you will enter at the Pondfield entrance by the flagpole, and then you will go to your kids' homeroom and get your class assignments, meaning the schedule for your children. So we will all pick that up, and that way we should not get lost. Well, we might get lost, but
that's such a great way. We gave the parents one homework assignment. They have to speak to their children and ask, who's your homeroom teacher and what room are they in? But don't worry, just in case that doesn't happen, we're going to have a lot of signs up and be able to direct everybody where they need to go. So we hope it's an enjoyable night for everyone.
Yes. Well, we're really looking forward to it. Thank you. I know this is a late evening for you before another late one tomorrow. We really appreciate it. If anyone has any questions, please drop them in the chat. Otherwise, please email me in anytime and or email Joe and let us know if there's anything that comes up. And obviously we have another meeting next month and I look forward to that. And if anyone has any questions, please let us know. I did see a question about AI. I think that that is probably a question that we can forward along to Dr. Kelly, and I'm sure the school's working on sort of a bigger district policy for AI and chat GPT and or all of those. So, but other than that, if nobody has any questions, then I'm gonna let everyone go and spend the rest of their evening with their finishing middle school homework.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Wendy.